you were quoted as saying that artificial intelligence is more dangerous than nuclear weapons.
I said potentially.
and well, it goes on. How do you consolidate, rationalize the conflict between artificial intelligence, of course, deep learning that obviously is going to be very important to self-driving cars? How do you think through that?
今回は AI という切り口でテスラがどのような時間軸で買われていくのかをイーロン・マスクと NVIDIA CEO との対談やインタビュー動画などから解説していこうと思います。次の映像はイーロン・マスクが AI について質問されたインタビューの様子です。
Okay, we'll wait and see. Final one. Can you rank the US and China on their development of AI each out of 10?
The US very much has the most advanced AI. So this is, you see, like China's close behind, certainly, and has the resources to scale and to optimize. The biggest single advances in AI still come from the US and Europe. All right, so it's hard to give an exact number or score. It's more like...
But there's a big gap still.
There's a gap. That gap looks like it's on the order of 12 months.
Right.
Ish.
Right. And narrowing or expanding?
It's hard to tell. I suspect it will narrow to some degree.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about, you've created a new AI company yourself. Obviously, there's a huge amount of energy and activity in this space, or at least it's been talked about. I mean, what do you want to do yourself in this space beyond Tesla and the stuff you talked about earlier? What is that new thing?
Well, I think there should be a significant third horse in the race here. We've got OpenAI and Microsoft, Google DeepMind, and probably there should be a third horse in the race. So there'll be more on that soon.
But is it something that will interact with the data of Twitter and the capability of Tesla? Is it something that tries to bring what you've talked about earlier in terms of capability together and become that third player? Is that what you're talking about?
To some degree, I don't want to jump the gun here on announcements, but OpenAI has a relationship with Microsoft that seems to work fairly well. So it's possible that XAI and Twitter and Tesla would have something similar.
Possible.
イーロン・マスクは Google が出資したディープマインド社やマイクロソフトが出資したオープン AI 社を引き合いに出して自らが設立した XAI 社も同じように独立した企業としつつもテスラにおける AI 事業とも相乗効果をもたらすと初めて発言をしました。ツイッターにある大量の言語データや映像データは他のプラットフォームからの機械的なアクセスを遮断してXAI のみが人工知能の学習用データとして使われるということは以前の動画でもお伝えしました。先ほどのイーロン・マスクの発言は XAI が獲得した高度な人工知能をカリフォルニア州にあるテスラのスーパーコンピューター道場の学習アルゴリズムとして使って現在の EV 車両と開発中のオプティマスの心臓部にあるハードウェア4のニューラルプロセッシングユニットとしてインストールされて使われていくことを意味しています。テスラのこうした AI 事業の未来においてキャシー・ウッドも興味深い発言をしています。
I'd like to start this off by talking about how we've been AI everything and everywhere in terms of our analysis practically since the beginning of the firm. So every stock in our portfolio has been analyzed with that lens on. We've been doing this for a while. And to give you the best example of this, NVIDIA, 2014, Tasha Keeney, and announces after we've tasked her with figuring out what's going to go into an autonomous vehicle, she comes back during one of our brainstorms with her aha moment. And that was that the brains or the central nervous system of an autonomous vehicle, remember this is back in 2014, were going to be GPUs. Now we owned NVIDIA, we were exposed to NVIDIA back then as a gaming company. In fact, all it was in the minds of most investors was a PC gaming chip company. And gaming was growing rapidly, so in many growth portfolios. But as soon as Tasha said that, I said, Tasha, nobody knows this. Nobody knows this. This is not in the price of NVIDIA at all. NVIDIA at that time was a $5 stock on the split adjusted basis. And now it is a $400 stock. $5 and somewhere in the $5 to $10 billion now has scaled to $1 trillion. It is now 25 times revenue. So now people do understand that AI is a big idea. And many are treating NVIDIA like it is the only AI idea out there. Well, we have a different perspective, and I would like to.
キャシーウッドが率いる ARK が最初に NVIDIA 株を購入したのは2016年の第4四半期でした。それ以降、これまでに合計12回 NVIDIA 株を購入して、合計41万4000株を3360万ドルで取得してきました。そのため取得単価は現在の株数ベースで81ドルとなっていて、途中で11回売却はしているものの、現在の株価約400ドルに換算すると、投資資金は5倍で回収できたことになります。ARK はこれまで NVIDIA で大きな利益を得た一方で、これからの物色は AI の基盤を作るこうした銘柄からテスラのように AI そのものを使う側へと注目が移ると言っています。キャシーウッドとターシャ・キーニー氏が自動運転分野での AI 銘柄として NVIDIA に注目した翌年の2015年にイーロン・マスクと NVIDIA CEO のジェンセン・ファン氏が対談した貴重なシーンがありましたので、次にご紹介しようと思います。
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tesla CEO, founder, Elon Musk.
これは GPU テクノロジーズカンファレンス2015というイベントの中で、ジェンセン・ファン氏がイーロン・マスクに質問する形で登壇した時の様子です。
I've never seen anybody walk this slow. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Welcome, welcome. Guys, Elon Musk. Here's
Hi.
Now, you know, we made it a point not to rehearse anything. You were quoted as saying that artificial intelligence is more dangerous than nuclear weapons.
I said potentially.
And well, it goes on. It goes on. And
it does go on.
You say that it's like summoning the demon.
Could be.
How do you consolidate, rationalize that conflict between artificial intelligence, of course, deep learning that obviously is going to be very important to self-driving cars? How do you think through that?
Well, I don't think we have to worry about autonomous cars because that's sort of like a narrow form of AI. And instantly, not something that I think is very difficult, actually. I think to do autonomous driving to a degree that's much safer than a person is much easier than people think.
Yeah, right.
I think it's going to just become normal, like it'll be like an elevator.
イーロン・マスクは現在の自動車はエレベーターのような存在になると発言しています。エレベーターは確かに人がいなくても稼働しますし、ボタンを押すだけで行きたいフロアに自動的に連れて行ってくれます。イーロン・マスクはまさしくこれまで人が運転すべきだった自動車という存在をエレベーターのようなボタンを押すだけで行き先まで自動的に連れて行ってくれる存在に変えようとしているわけです。未だに自動運転が怖いと言っている人がいますが、こうした反応はエレベーターが最初に稼働した時に乗った人や馬車から自動車へと移り変わる時にも同様にありました。しかしこうした不安はすぐに払拭されて、人々が慣れていったように自動運転も怖がる人はすぐにいなくなっていくと思います。 そういう意味では自動運転機能を搭載した電気自動車は誰もが使う社会インフラ的な存在になっていくわけです。エレベーターの事例を持ち出したのはまさしく社会インフラとしてのロボタクシーをこの時からイーロン・マスクがイメージしていたからだと思います。
Like no, they used to have elevator operators, and then we developed some simple circuitry to have elevators just automatically come to the floor that you're at, and you can just press the button. Nobody needs to operate the elevator. The car is just going to be like that.
And the elevators these days are even smart. I mean, it knows where to position an elevator, so that if you were to need an elevator, it's pretty close to you. Cars in the future will be pretty smart about that too.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell your car, like, take me home, go here, go there, anything, and it'll just do it.
Now, you guys,
At an order of magnitude safer than a person. And in fact, in the distant future, I think it's probably going to be people may outlaw driving cars because it's too dangerous. Like you can't have a person driving a 2-ton death machine.
now, if we have the right type of intelligence in a car, we also don't have to make the cars that heavy. I would think. Cars are getting heavier and heavier, and it's got more and more stuff in it because it needs to survive all these incredible collisions and things like that. I wonder if we were to design cars that just simply don't collide as much.
これまでの内燃機関が不要になって車の構造そのものが変われば、現在の流体力学に基づいた形状や車両全体の構造すら変わっていきます。例えばですが、大きなフロントガラスやワイパーなどもなくなる可能性もあります。前方で走っている車からの飛び石で割れる危険性があることを考慮すると、そもそもガラスにする必要はありません。若干長期的な話になりますが、人が運転したり前方を見る必要がないのであれば、そもそも透明にする必要すらなくて、最終的にはカメラのような映像で外の様子を確認できればいいということになります。実際テスラがこれから大量生産しようとしているサイバートラックは、デジタルカメラで外の様子が確認できるので、当初のデザインにはサイドミラーがありませんでした。最終的には渋々物理的なサイドミラーを搭載するようになりましたが、サイバートラックの所有者は自由にサイドミラーを取り外せるようになっています。
I wonder if we could relax on some of those laws and make cars more fuel efficient and lighter and better to drive.
You could definitely do that. If you could count on not having an accident, then you can get rid of a huge amount of the crash structure and the airbags. We're a long way from that because there's always going to be for a very long time, there'll be some amount of legacy cars on the road. And I think it is important to just appreciate the size of the automotive industrial base. Like, it's not as though like when somebody makes an autonomous car that suddenly all the cars will be autonomous. It's like there's 2 billion of them. Okay, so the total number of cars and trucks on the road is 2 billion and climbing. The capacity of car and truck production is about 100 million a year. So if tomorrow all cars were autonomous, it would take 20 years to replace the fleet, assuming the fleet stayed the same size. Arguably, it could get smaller if things are autonomous. But still, it's still maybe 15 years or something, and it's not all going to transition immediately. It'll take quite a while. So and it's the same for electrification of cars. Changing that industrial base to be electric. I mean, if all cars were suddenly, if all cars produced were electric tomorrow, it would still take 20 years to replace the fleet. And right now it's less than 1%. So
now you mentioned just now about self-driving cars being easier than people think. Now you have your vision of how to go from where we are today. Now my P85D has lane detection, and so it gets a little bzz, when I get close to a lane.
Yep.
It detects the speed signs, and it uses computer vision technology to do that. And that's today's ADAS. What is your roadmap? How is that different than other people's roadmap? How do you think about how to get to self-driving cars?
Yeah, well, you kind of need the hardware foundation, the sort of sensor and computing foundation, and then you can keep uploading new software. At least you can with a Tesla because it's always connected. So the car that you have, you'll notice like the features are steadily improving. We now have active cruise control. So it'll use radar and camera fusion to track the car in front of you. It's also looking at with some of the things that are coming out. It looks at the brake lights, so it anticipates that the brake lights are active. It's going to get basically smarter and smarter, even with the current hardware suite. So the current hardware suite is 360-degree ultrasonic sensors that go up to about just over 5 meters. It's a forward camera and a forward radar. So we'll make, even with just that sensor suite, we can actually make huge progress in autonomy. We can certainly make the car steer itself on a freeway and do lane changes. It's really, autonomy is about what level of reliability and safety do you want. Even with the current sensor suite, we could make the car go fully autonomous, but not to a level of reliability that would be safe in, say, a complex urban environment at 30 miles an hour where the lane markings aren't there and children could be playing and things could be coming at you from the side. So in order to solve that, you need a bigger sensor suite and you need more computing power. And I think what you're doing actually with the Tigers in the future is super interesting and will really be a big enabler for autonomous driving. So I think NVIDIA is doing really great stuff on that front.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so some of the challenges that you see, what are some of the technological hurdles and there's all kinds of researchers in the room, there are all kinds of engineers in the room. What are some of the technological hurdles that you think are really important for us to go tackle? Surely we're going to get to some better cruise controls on highways. But beyond that, what are some of the things that you would like us to go focus on to tackle for the car industry?
Well, where it gets tricky is just the is that sort of urban environment around 30 or 40 miles an hour. So like right now, it's fairly easy to deal with, say, things that are sub 5 to 10 miles an hour because we can do that with the ultrasonics. We just make sure it doesn't hit anything.
Right.
Because you can always.
Which is the right thing to do, largely.
Why would you want to hit anything with your car?
Yeah, exactly.
So at 5 to 10 miles an hour, you can stop within the range of the ultrasonics. And then from, let's say, 10 miles an hour to, call it sort of 50 miles an hour, that area in complex suburban environments, that's where you can get a lot of unexpected things happening. Like, let's say there's a road closure or a manhole cover open, children playing is a big issue, bicycles. Once you get above 50 miles an hour and you're in kind of a freeway environment, then it also gets easier again. Like the set of possibilities is much reduced. So highway cruise is easy, low speed is easy, intermediate is hard. And so being able to recognize what you're seeing and make the right decision in the suburban environment in that 10 miles an hour to 50 mile an hour zone is the challenging portion. But I really think I almost, this may sound a little complacent, but I almost view it as like a solved problem. Like we know exactly what to do, and we'll be there in a few years.
Right. Just like Mars. But that's kind of the spirit of innovators. I mean, in a lot of ways, in your mind, you kind of see things solvable, or arguably solved, and a lot of it is really about getting there.
Yeah, we'll take autonomous cars for granted in quite a short period of time. It's amazing how comfortable you get and how quickly you get comfortable with it.
AI 開発に必要なハードウェアを作ってきた NVIDIA は今年 161% 上昇して投資家は大きなリターンを得ました。テスラはこうした銘柄に対して若干出遅れている感はありますが、キャシーウッドは現在 NVIDIA などに向いている AI 関連の物色の動きは長期的にはハードウェアからソフトウェアへと注目が移っていく中で徐々にテスラにも向いていくと言っています。つまり AI の機能をサポートする銘柄から機能を使う銘柄へと移行すると述べているのです。ではそれがいつになるのかということなんですが、現在はテスラは EV 銘柄として認知されていますし、 徐々に総合エネルギー企業としてバッテリーの生産、販売などにも力を入れていって、その次にオプティマスやスーパーコンピューター道場の活用も含めた AI の収益化を図っていくことを考えると、人工知能領域での物色が行われるのは早くても2025年以降から2030年にかけてではないかと思います。もちろん今回のオープン AI のように大きな技術革新によって市場で注目されるようなことがあれば、突然の株価上昇ということも考えられます。今回ご紹介した対談の中で象徴的だったのは、オレゴン州立大学で電気工学の学士号とスタンフォード大学で修士号を取得した生粋のエンジニアでもあるジェンセン・ファン氏が AI の技術的課題や負債に注目した一方で、イーロン・マスクは AI をツールとしてそれをどのように活用するのか、AI がすでにある前提で未来を予想しているのが印象的でした。今回の内容は以上です。もし動画の内容が気に入っていただけたら、いいね、フォロー、通知ボタンをオンにしていただけると嬉しいです。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。